Hi and hello, this is the Bobcast, episode 4, A New Hope. Actually, episode 4, we're doing Race for the number one pick again. So we're going to take a look at the worst teams in the league, see how they're doing, see who's going to get that coveted number one pick spot. So, sitting in the pole position right now is Milwaukee. Milwaukee, bit of a surprise. 23 and 58, half a game ahead of Cincinnati. They overtook Cincinnati. And it's really interesting, Milwaukee. They finally put Ryan Braun on the block, which some have said it was a long time coming, but should be since they're losing, and he's 31, going to be 32 at the end of this month. They're 5 games under five. They're actually worse than. They're one of the few bad teams that's not as bad as their record shows. With Braun, with some other good hitters, Geyer, their run differential would make them 5 games better than what they actually are. So they've had a bit of bad luck, although then again they're not that good. But right now they're sitting in first place. How long they sit there and last, it's debatable. So they're number one. Number two is Cincinnati, who had been leading the whole season, and probably I think is still going to end up with the number one overall pick. They're a half game back. They are a truly terrible team. 29th in runs scored, 30th in runs given up, meaning they've given up the most runs in the league. Scored the second least runs in the league. But yeah, I'm guaranteeing they're going to get the number one pick. As long as they don't bring up their young, good kids, because most of Cincinnati's good players are actually in their farm system in AAA. The first baseman Goldschmidt that they added. He's their best hitter. He's in AAA, and they have a bunch of good, solid young pitching in AAA. Brothers, Brewer, Gibson. If he brought them up, if JP decided to bring them up, which no reason he should, then he might not get the top pick. But barring him start bringing the guys up and starting their clocks, which makes no sense since he wants to lose, JP will get number one pick. Cincinnati should finish last. So right now they're sitting at 2. Sitting at third, the third worst record, sitting at 31 and keep saying sitting at 31 and 52 is Texas. Texas is a really interesting team. I mean, really interesting. I mean, they traded away a couple of their big hitters the past couple of seasons, which has been talked about a lot. But they have an incredible depth of awesome young pitching. I mean, it's really truly remarkable. That Ross, Moore, Kyle, Holland, Harrison, all are stud SPs. They're young. Holland's the only one. I mean, Harrison's the only one. He's the oldest one at 26 years old. The rest of them young, awesome. Hitting, not really there, not as much. The only really good young hitter they have who's developed is Kevin Rivers. He's solid, but besides that, not much. So Texas, they're going to finish in the top 5 probably for the worst pick. And they should, at least in my opinion, use that pick to go find themselves some hitting, because they're stacked at pitching, don't need any help there. But for when they want to compete, they're going to need some hitting. So they're at 3. Sitting at 4 is a representative from the AL Central. Surprisingly enough, though, it is not Kansas City. Chicago, the White Sox, 33 and 49, have surpassed or fallen behind. Depends which way you're looking. Half empty, half full, your glass. They passed the Royals for the cellar of the Central. Offense has been bad, but not terrible. I mean, like 20th in runs scored. Pitching's been horrendous, horrible, completely brutal. They've given up the 4th most runs in the league. PV, Sale, Danks, Harden have all been really, really bad. 4 of his 5 starters. The one bright spot's Gavin Floyd, but then again, Gavin Floyd, he's using him as his 4th starter, so he's not getting as many starts, but he's the only guy in that rotation who's pitching well. Chicago has their best hitters on the block, or at least Carlos Sanquentin. Maybe he deals, maybe he doesn't deal them. But either way, Chicago should battle KC for the central representative in the bad for the lottery in the lottery. Like, think about it, the NL Central has Milwaukee and Cincy battling for, and so you have a lot of teams in the Central are bad, or at least are horrendous in the Centrals. Right now, in the 5th pick, in a highly contentious thing on the bubble of different teams, is the Baltimore Orioles. My Baltimore Orioles. We're only a half game back in Chicago. We made a hard push after the last couple of months. We were above 500 somehow, but come back down to earth. We're sitting at 33 and 48, having him back in Chicago, as I said. Baltimore, same story as a lot of these other teams. A couple really good young guys. The rest of the team's been terrible. Our 1 and 3 starters and Matuz and Heredia have been good, or really good, and everyone else has been bad. Bad is not even really even put it. I can't even put it into words how bad they've been. But Baltimore got a big bump out of Jacob Heredia, turning into an actual player. I mean, he was projected. He's a back end rotation guy, but he got the good kind of bumps, and now he's a really good pitcher. No guarantee that Baltimore keeps him, obviously. We just put him on the block. But, right, so right now we're sitting at 5, and we're hoping to move into the top 3 by the end of the season. That's it for episode 4 of the Bobcast. We'll be back sometime later with another update.